Okay, should we start?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Gaudy had 5 minutes to prepare, so that's cool.
Next week you can let people know I'm not available. I'm visiting Dildo, Newfoundland.
I'm sorry.
What's so funny about they're very proud group.
I think.
Josh, are we recording this already?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, big time.
All right. Welcome to the
There's a
Crownsmen Show.
brewery there too.
Is that actually, how's it spelled?
I don't know if I should be here for this conversation.
I don't know if anybody should be here for this conversation. How's it?
It is. You can Google it. DIDLO. It's Dildo, Newfoundland. They're about maybe about 35, 40 minutes north of St. John's.
I wouldn't raise my child.
in a town named.
Because the first day of university when they introduced themselves, where are you from?
University, when you go to elementary school.
Well, yeah, but elementary, all the
I guess
kids will
they're
be
all
in.
from the same,
They're all
yeah.
be in. They're all from the same dildo. But that is, it is. I'm looking it up. I'm sitting here looking at it. It actually looks like a beautiful little town too.
Yeah, it's a picturesque little town with a famous brewery.
What is that? I'm scared to even ask. What is it even named after?
I don't know. Maybe there's a battery factory nearby.
Wow.
I'm sure that this can all be edited.
Not really. Talked about it for too long now. It has 195 residents.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so you will not be there because you will be in Dildo, Newfoundland.
Passing through.
Oh,
Oh,
I have a talk in St. John's, and then I head up to Bayvert.
I see. So you're not even going to be there, and we just spent 5 minutes dumping on their poor little town. Gaudy, thank you for filling in for Rory Bamford.
it's a pleasure.
He could not make it. We did CIM last week?
Oh my
Last-
God, yes, it feels like
It
it
was.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Gaudy, first question goes to you. We had men talking about it being on Mother's Day, the opening day of CIM on Sunday. What did you think of that? What was your opinion?
Wow. To be honest, it was just another day for me. A couple things.
There you go.
For me, Mother's Day is celebrated on the 10th.
You didn't miss it.
So I didn't miss it.
Why the 10th?
technically. Back home, it's the 10th of May
For anybody who doesn't know,
from Guatemala.
Guatemala. So
Yeah.
they do Mother's Day on the 10th?
10th of May. So on the 10th, we actually did have a little bit of a thing at home, which was a Friday, and then went straight into work, and I didn't. So to me, it wasn't. I didn't really miss much.
Oh, okay. So, Roy, you're still in trouble, though. You figured about 3 months you were in trouble for?
You know what my dad used to say is Mother's Day is every day, but Father's Day is only once a year. But I don't repeat that at home. That's not a popular sentiment. Yeah, it was a problem for me, not only Mother's Day, but my wife's birthday as well was the 2 days later. So
Roy.
double
was a
indemnity, as they call it.
And you were literally drinking with us on camera.
Instead of
Instead of, yeah, I know.
that
No,
gift,
and she knows.
that
That's
gift
the
must have been
issue.
a really big gift. I mean, I hope it was a really big gift.
Yeah, it's the thought that counts, Gaudy. It really is. That's what, I think it was a Mars bar. I think the note said, I love you to Mars and back. I think it was a double Mars bar because I said Mars and back twice. So,
Okay.
Let's talk about our heavy industry world tour brought to you by Savannah Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide. And Corporate Traveler Canada, helping companies travel the globe simpler, faster, easier. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's Heavy Industry World Tour. Dayquip specializes in the design and manufacturing of attachments for all makes and models of compact excavators, wheel loaders, crawl dozers, and articulated dump trucks. You can choose from any of their engineered attachments, or they can design and build to your specifications. All of their products can be shipped anywhere in North America, hassle-free. If you don't see it, just ask and they will build it. Check out their website, www.dayquip.com, or email them info@dayquip.com for sales, quotes, and support. With Fender Dunlop, you know you are getting the best conveyor belting in the market. That's because they ensure the integrity of their conveyor belting by monitoring each step of the manufacturing process in their North American facilities. Focused attention is given to each belting order to guarantee that they produce a belt that will assist the customer in reducing operation costs, maximizing uptime, and improving revenue. Visit FenderDunlopAmericas.com to learn more.
There's other jokes going. No, I'm going to not go. I'm not going to circle back. I'm not going to do callbacks to what we were talking about earlier. Moving on. Roy, what do you think of CIM on a more serious note?
Yeah, I love the event. I mean, I see lots of different conferences. What I like about CIM is I find it a little more personal, or personable, I should say. Like, even though there are a lot of people there, meet a lot of people, you chat with them. It's a very social atmosphere, and it really is a great mix of technical presentations and networking. So I always enjoyed it. I thought it was a great conference. Weather in Vancouver was beautiful. You guys did a great job weather-wise, and and of course I always enjoy mining now. I always learn a lot. We had some fun in the Rap and Tap, so. I really enjoyed it.
I think Ryan was quite good in it. I think he took a minute to figure out what was going on.
He rolled with the punches.
He did, yeah.
Once he got it.
Yeah. It's funny because I've never really, I've met Ryan in passing, but it's probably the most I've ever talked to him.
Yeah.
And then that's our introduction is insanity. Roy, this is just kind of asking you to toot our own horn, but what did you think of, because you've sort of seen the progression, what did you sort of think of the feeling? Because I want Gaudy to sort of walk us through some of the setups when we're doing events like that from a technical standpoint. But what was sort of the feeling you got? Because we got 4 different hosts, people swapping out studios and all that sort of stuff. Did it feel chaotic in the booth?
You know what? I wouldn't say chaotic, but what I really like about what's happening now, it's happening on the conference floor. And it creates a buzz. You know, people are walking by and looking at the different booths, and then they see, what's the older lights, camera, action, whatever the old expression is. But it does. And like you said yourself, people get interested to a point where they walk in to see what's going on in the middle of a show. But it does, I believe, create a buzz on the conference, on the trade show floor.
Gaudy, I was just curious from our setup. Like, do you remember, what was our Mimo? Was that our first setup in Kamloops?
Was it Mimo? No, I think Mimo came after.
First Mining Now, sorry.
Yes. First Mining, you're right.
The
Yes,
Crownsmen
Show was born at CIM.
Yes, That was just
Mining
through
Now
Crownsmen.
was born
Yeah.
at Mimo. Wow. Such a while back ago.
So
Mimo was a little booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can
thing.
bring stuff up on screen as we're talking. We can talk to the editors after, but
like
what was originally, our setup was basically what? A equipment setup.
Yeah, it was like 2 cameras, a little table, and I don't think, that setup was just audio and just...
What did we run the audio through? A little mixer?
Yeah, no, our Studio Live. I think we
the
had
Studio
that.
Live one. Yeah.
So it was quite clunky.
Yeah.
To travel around with it.
Yeah.
And then through the computer and all that sort of stuff.
Now Gaudy has a mixer at her table for her Caesars. Right? I guess that's a different.
Yeah,
that's a different kind of mixer.
I don't think there's anything wrong with her having the Caesars. I just wanted to be clear. It was the stack of 4 empty cups beside it. That I was
she was just
I don't know where they
up
came
to you,
from.
Jerrod.
I had 1. That's just a lot because you weren't drinking, and it was like we wrapped the show and there was 4 empty cups. It was just a lot.
I was being
it was a lot
entertained
fast
by cranky old men, so it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Cranky old men make you
It
drink.
was required in order to
get through it.
Yeah.
Rite of passage.
But this show, again, I don't know if people are interested in it, but I think a lot of people want to do their own show. Can you give sort of a breakdown of at CIM, like from an actual standpoint of what the setup is?
It's funny, Roy, you were asked, did you think it was chaotic? I'm glad you didn't think it was chaotic because from my perspective, it was a good chaos, but chaos nonetheless. We running 2 studios. That's 4 cameras on each side. So a total of 8 cameras running at the same time.
In a 20 by 20 space.
In a 20 by 20 space. You're talking about cables running, and having to be taped down and making sure nobody goes through in the middle of the booth because the cameras are going to get knocked down. Lights. Then, of course, the actual producer's studio or setup and control center. So 2 of those and making sure that they're equipped with everything that they need in order to make sure that everything goes smoothly. And then on top of that, of course, you add on, the guests, the hosts. And when you run 2 studios simultaneously, you're talking about a total about, 6, maybe more people coming in at the same time. And
getting filmed in a 20 by 20 space
making sure that, it's a small space to have that many people come in and be directed to where they're going while having 8 different cameras set up and, you can't go there. You got to go this way. Oh, don't do that. And just to be honest, the setup, you go through all the equipment that you need. You go through it once, you go through it twice, you go through it 3 times, and you still forget things. You still arrive at the trade show. You're setting stuff up.
We were ordering cables off Amazon the day before.
It's just things that just seem to happen. You can plan all you want until you're in the space. That's when you realize, that's not going to work. We need that because that's not.
Well, even our configuration changed.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
went. No, L shape, not.
Yeah, I know.
Not across from each other on this one.
I think I had a good key running back and forth with. No, I don't need that table. I need that table.
Oh yeah, we had them.
I need another one of that. I should have 5 of them.
They probably thought we were messing with them because we're the only booth that's doing that type. Everybody else just has their setup.
Yeah.
Roy, how did you like the L shape? Like how Gaudy and I are sitting. I don't know if there's a wide on us, but there's this L-shaped way of doing it. How'd you like that?
Yeah, I thought it was good. If you're on a one-on-one interview or a one-on-2, even the wrap and tap, that all worked. What was Rory's comment? He said the distance made it easier to be
obnoxious?
Argument. Or hostile, yes. Hostile. I don't know where that came from, but
I did notice that in our guests this time around, having that extra space between, the host and themselves, more comfortable.
Yeah.
Less in your face.
You can see it. I noticed. You say face. I noticed shoulders. I noticed where their shoulders are at.
Yeah. I think. A lot of repeat guests that came in, on their first episode. Of course, it's not easy to sit and have a camera in your face, but this time around, it just seemed more natural.
Yeah.
Like they were much more confident, much just relaxed. But I do think that sort of extra space they had between themselves and the host was key. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to mention something else too, is that people may or may not realize the amount of work that goes into production of the Mining Now show after all of that, after the filming. But Wrap and Tap, the closeout show we did, was filmed, produced, and posted within hours. So that added another level of, I don't know if you'd call it chaos or complexity, but
what goes
you
into
guys
that?
did a great job.
Yeah, what goes into that one? Part of the reason I'm bringing this up, just for anybody listening, is because a lot of people, it's like the distance between the guests. Mm-hmm. People come to us and they want to do their own shows, and I probably have heard me say it, but and I genuinely believe that we want other shows, even if they're kind of competitors, to be good. Because if they're bad, then people have a bad experience. And then when we show up on their door, they're going, no, we already had a bad experience. The sound was bad. the people were too. They don't, and a lot of times in production, because people don't understand it, they don't even know why the experience wasn't good. They don't realize that they were 2 feet too close. Things like that. So that's kind of why I'm trying to like help people understand what actually goes into that. So like that wrap and tap, that turnaround of a couple hours, what is that? Is that the ATEM allowing us to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And producers did a great job of making sure that file, the final product, was just as easy to edit, and put together and just ready to go. I mean, it doesn't come without its challenges and Ethernet and whatnot.
And of course, all the preparation for that show, Rory making notes, me going to the beer store. There's a lot of stuff that goes into behind the scenes that people don't see, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Me trying to avoid both of you so I can stay focused on, on my job.
Focused and spilling beer all over the place.
I was so rattled I couldn't even pour beer properly. That was my. But that takes about 2 hours to get that turned around out the door.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
And we get thousands of people. I mean, lots of people viewing that, and it just goes to show that people go to the conference for networking or to learn, but you go to have fun too, eh?
Yeah.
It's a chance for people to relax a bit and have some fun and meet some old friends. So
yeah, we had a lot of people come in and want to take pictures in the hot seat.
I saw people doing that. Yeah.
And people that
that's funny.
That are like the marketing managers, the people we
selfie,
have,
selfie.
Yeah, a lot of that, and we're like, no, we got to post this. This is what's entertaining, what people want to see. That it's not just you sit down and have a conversation about mining. It's a little bit more than that. It's
How's it go? More selfies than a teenager at a Taylor Swift concert. Yeah.
Or Jerrod at a Taylor Swift conference. Let's go.
We'll bring those images up.
That's actually the other thing that I had to very quickly adjust. It happened a couple years ago. Someone was waiting. They wanted a photo with us.
Yes.
And it threw me off because I was kind of like, what do we? And I almost was like sarcastic about it. And then I realized if someone's a fan of the show, by extension, they're a fan of industry. So it is important to get people, if they want to take a picture in the studio or take a picture of you, you need to be really gracious about it. You don't want to act, you don't want to go like,
you're a star now.
Well, almost like, but it's almost insulting if you go, really, you're going to take a picture with me? Like, you want it to be, like, you need to be excited about it because they're excited about it. And but then
there's the other end of the scale, Jerrod. You don't say, and you want an autographed photo of me too. Like, so you need to be humble, but you need to be accommodating.
Well, I actually have media training, so that's why I do that to even people that aren't asking for photos.
That's his goal. After all these years, they finally know who you are, Jerrod. How does that feel?
No, still this year. Nobody ever comes up to me. Ever. They come up to Rory. They come up to Gaudy. They come to I think people are coming up to Josh now.
Yeah, but
nobody knows who Jerrod is.
They want to know about that #1 parfait.
Yeah.
5 people actually came up to me after the Wrap and Tap and wanted a photo of me and to sign their parfait.
That didn't happen.
It happened in my mind.
This is what Josh is dreaming about this. Are there any interviews, Roy, that just stood out? You've mentioned a couple times about learning. Are there a couple that you did that you went, oh, I really didn't know some of this information?
There, I learn with every one of them, but I've got to tell you a backstory on one. It was Falkirk, and I always go on the website and learn a little more about the company. And the name Falkirk's very interesting. It's the ancestral home of one of the partners of the company, but also it's noted for being an important battle of Scottish independence. The Falkirk wheel was named after it, and the wheel was based on Archimedes' principle. There's a whole, what I thought was an interesting story behind it. Before the interview, I talked to the guests and Christy and Ellen, and I said, I'm going to ask you about your background, and then I want to talk about the origins of the name of your company, because I think it's really interesting. And they said, "Oh, we don't know anything about that." I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Oh, that's Mike's idea. He's the one that knows all the story." I said, "It's on the website, the whole thing." They said, "Oh, well, yeah." So that never got on the show, but yeah, we always chat a little bit before to make sure things go smoothly. That was an interesting group, kind of when we talk about ESR, environmental social responsibility. They've combined that because they're looking at environmental from a perspective of Indigenous groups, and so it's an interesting format, but kind of a natural progression, I think, in our industry. Propulsa, that's entrepreneurship, simple as that. And they talked about an innovative idea. They're cleaning filters without replacing them, and they're doing it with sound waves. And I asked him about that, and he said, well, the inventor thought of it while he was driving, and he had the music cranked in his car, and he was watching the speakers. Sounds like a safety issue to me, but I asked him what was he listening to, and they said Black Sabbath, which I thought was interesting. I didn't want to build on that. I think of the song Paranoid and Ozzy Osbourne and the Bats and all that, but some of the background stories I just found very interesting.
Mine, a couple that stood out to me, not kind of a completely different angle. One was L&H, and they've been on the show. They've been big supporters.
Yeah.
Amazing team to work with. They're one of the best clients that we've just very supportive. They want to share. They're organized, and they just
Even after Rap and Tap, they're still.
That people love that. I was nervous about that because our brand is sort of like, people retake questions, we polish up the interviews and all that sort of stuff. But people watched it because views don't really matter to me. It's how long people watch for. And the average viewer was watching 40% or more of those Rap and Taps.
They're
which
quite
is
entertaining.
Yeah, I guess.
We had fun with it.
Yeah, and so then you realize, okay, people, you're almost catering to the 1% of people that don't like people having fun. That's really who you're. As long as you're not saying anything, you're not actually going after somebody.
Right.
Which, that's not even funny. Even when comedians do that, that's actually not funny. Yeah. But joking about funny things is fine, and everybody just responded to it. Now L&H, I won't say they're not really a comedic type company. They're pretty serious, but I thought it was quite interesting, and I had never done an interview with how do you say his last name? Dustin's last name. I always, because I've said it so many wrong ways now that
You're right. I actually remember
Roche. Sorry, Dustin.
I feel like
if we saw the recording, then I got it right.
That's
He
my
said
Achilles
Roush.
heel as an interviewer.
Roush?
He said Roush.
Name pronunciation.
Yeah, and the bigger the show gets, the more people from all over the world come on the show, and the harder and harder the names get.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I say it. I say
Jeez,
it
you
all
can't
the
even
time.
pronounce my first name, Jerrod.
Of course I can, Robert.
I will launch a whole episode
Of
on
just
Jerrod
me
and pronouncing everyone's names.
That's
the next Rap and Tap.
Yeah, just us reading off names, trying to get it.
Yeah.
Guess the name. If you knew all the names, how to say the names right, and then us three could try to get as close as possible.
Ooh.
I always ask the guests before we start recording, how do you pronounce your last name? And they tell me, and then of course 30 seconds later,
It's unbelievable. It's the
struggling.
worst.
Talk about short-term memory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jared's the
Well, it
same
gets in
way.
your head, too, especially if the night before you were practicing it wrong. Oh, that's the worst. But I thought, L&H I thought was interesting because they're like on their third generation of the company now. And that's fascinating to me, that a family could basically hold it together that well. But what Dustin was saying is there's accountability. Like you don't just get to be there. Like you really do. Like the family culture is that you have to earn the right to be in the company.
You don't inherit it.
You don't inherit it at all. There's cousins that are involved and uncles that aren't. You know, that kind of thing. He didn't say exactly that, but it's not just everybody. Like you have to earn your...
their nepotism program, they must have a grandfather clause in there, eh?
So when did you think of saying that? Like how long did you just come to you, or have you been planning that as soon as I said the generation?
No, that's an old joke, but you started talking about family members in the company, it came to mind.
Right. Yeah, it's really, really funny.
Thank you.
Yikes. And then the other one that stood out for me was Komatsu's. SMS came on, and they were talking about the dozers, the new what I wanted to actually get them right. I put it somewhere. Where did all my dozers go? Did I somehow? Oh, there they are up there. There's the D375 and the D475. That A-8.
Is this one of the ones you're gonna try and get as a diecast?
Yeah, SMS is saying they're gonna get us. I got them to say it recorded on camera on the episode that they're gonna be giving us diecast. They are liable. Yeah, we're owed those now. But I thought the process that Komatsu, and I would love to get Komatsu developers on to what those discussions are fascinating. You know, the seat, the safety features, like how. Things like what is it? It's the fan. You probably know better than I do, Roy. But anyway, instead of, or like a filter or something, normally you have to shut the machine down. You go into it. This one, it's on a hinge, so it swings out. So now you're away from the machine when you're working on it. You know, just things like that. And Komatsu is a giant company. So I was just sort of fascinated by that whole cycle that's going right from an operator on the ground, you know, complaining. Oh, Sunday's coming in. Hey, girl. On the ground. Sunday. Say hi to the camera. Oh.
I don't think you.
Oh. Can't see her. She's right below the thing.
Oh, hi.
But that process would be just fascinating to learn about. Has to get something that's that expensive to build and manufacture, and all the way from an operator on the ground giving you feedback, and it gets all the way to the design floor, which I think is Japan. And then it has to get all the way back to a product that's land back in that operator's hands, 10 years after he complained about it. That kind of thing. That fascinates me, that process.
I think that, it would be really interesting to talk to Komatsu and McLean and some other groups. I think they all do it differently. Like for those of us not involved in that, maybe we picture a process, but every company does it, does this process a little bit differently. McLean's another interesting one. You guys have interviewed them a few times as well.
Yeah, we've interviewed them here and in Australia, actually.
Yeah. We did like a 3-part, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Or more. No, 3.
That's another family that, Don created the company. I think his granddaughter is I don't know if she's a VP of product development now or something, but it's still very much a family type of company.
Yeah, they actually they did a post about you. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did, because Stuart, I was walking by and Don McLean had won the Safety Leadership Award last year. And
you got him this year, though.
I've known Don for years. And so Stuart called me over and asked if they could get a picture.
What was the award again?
Mining Safety Leadership Award.
Yeah, that's that was actually, and doing an interview with Cementation, I got to do that one. Now I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name that was on
that
it.
Steve Rickson?
Steve, yeah, was
right.
that right? Yeah,
that's right.
It was interesting to see, because I know safety has been such an important thing, and sort of seeing how that culture is then translated over to the rest of the team. It was kind of a neat moment to be able to do that interview with him. I think it was the end of the day. He was ready. He was getting a little thirsty by that point, but I kept him in there for about 30 minutes.
It was perfect. It was a great way to end the day.
Yeah.
Steve's a different generation of safety professional, because traditionally in our industry, you'd have someone that had been a miner for 20 years. Maybe they got hurt or whatever their impetus was, they would get into safety. That's not Steve's background. Steve took health and safety management at university.
Oh.
So he educated in it, and then he came on one of our projects in a junior capacity and has worked his way up. And so it was a different approach for us, but it's worked really well for cementation and for Steve. He's a great guy.
Yeah. I almost had something else, and I didn't quite form it in time before you end the sentence. So let me think about it for a second, what I was going to. This is, again, it's tooting. I know it sounds like tooting our own horn, but that's actually not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people understand sort of what goes into it. When you first, it was 5 years ago now, when you first came into our studio, you're actually pretty much sitting right where I'm sitting right now, just with a different backdrop. By the way, the green screens to the audience, this is people are going to be paying for advertising back here. That's why I've got green screens behind me. When you came in and then we started talking about working with CIM and that, did you already have a thought that like this could be something like we did 28 episodes or so at CIM? We're going to do Mine Expo. We'll do another 40 probably. We'll probably do close to 100 to 120 episodes just this year alone. It'll be about 2.5 million views just on Mining Now, never mind our other shows, just in 1 year on YouTube. The channel's at 9 million views in total. Did you have a sense of that? Again, not from what we're doing, but just that the potential of this for a long-form technical conversation around mining, that it could be that much, that there would be that much interest in it within just a few years?
No.
No. It was just I was just curious what your thought process was, because a lot of people have kind of come around, similar to you have. Very few people have went, I want to get involved in pushing this to another level. You're one of the few people that really seem to understand what we were trying to do. And I was wondering if it was a thought or just curiosity.
Yeah. No, the model, because you got to remember what CIM's all about. And Canadian Institute of Mining, Metallurgy and Petroleum is a technical association. So the job of it is to share knowledge, network, establish best practices, guidelines. But the share knowledge part, the way that's done is through conferences and presentations. So it's limited. And if you don't attend the conference, well, you don't see it.
Tough luck.
And yeah, when I was a guest on your show, it was obvious to me that this was a way that more people we could share knowledge with more people. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a clear picture at the time of how that would work, but it just seemed natural. It was an extension. It was another tool for how CIM could share knowledge with not just members or not just people attending the conference, but anyone. Because it's not about just working with members, it's about helping the industry as a whole. So it seemed like a great format, and we started talking about that before COVID.
Yeah.
Of course, when COVID hit and things got shut down, it became even more relevant. It became one of the few ways that we could do that. So
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I didn't picture how much it would blossom, if that's the right term. But
yeah.
But kudos to you guys. You did a great job on it.
Yeah. We've talked to so many people. I mean, we've been hired to do like a 10 episode. You know, people will bring us in, we're going to do 10, and they do about 3, and then they're like, oh, this is a lot. There's a lot of work, more work. And it's really now, if someone was to come in and say, hey, we'd like to hire you to produce a show, I still don't actually know how I'd manage expectations, because it's like its own business. What happens if someone wants to do it off the side of their desk? Yeah. And then they realize
it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think what happens, Jerrod, is if someone's invited to come on, and we've seen this a few times, we've seen some people with pages and pages of prep notes, like they're ready to read these things.
Yeah.
And when they come on, they start to realize it's just a chat. It's just a discussion. And after a little bit, you see most guests kind of loosen up. And, we ask questions that are relevant, but we're not trying to, it's not an expose or anything.
Yeah.
It's a friendly conversation. And once people get past that, it's not a marketing format. It's just talking about your business. And if you're passionate about it, excited about it, that'll come through. So
yeah, which is really is the new form of marketing nowadays. Yeah. Like if I see a 30-second edited promo clip is clearly manufactured by the company, even if it's a good product, right? There's a reason. Well, Steve Jobs really was ahead of the curve because he used to go up and he'd do those presentations. Sometimes it wouldn't work. There's clips of him getting frustrated, but it was authentic. Mm-hmm. And he understood. He was a brilliant marketer. He understood that people appreciated that more than this promo, flash. I mean, they did that too. You got to do both.
Yeah.
But he understood this authentic thing. And then you get like the Joe Rogans of the world. I mean, he can literally just say, I take this supplement. And it blows off the market. Will buy the and I bought, no, because they're too expensive. I do the Costco versions. Gaudy, just quickly.
I have no idea what the supplement is, by the way.
I mean, I can send you. Have you ever done nootropics, Roy?
Done what?
Nootropics.
Is that a holiday in Europe? What is that?
It's kind of gets you there, yeah.
I got no idea what that is.
So a nootropic, this is going to be great, me trying to explain this. A nootropic is something similar, like it would be like lion's mane mushroom or like substance. Think of like caffeine.
Lion's mane mushroom.
Yeah.
I just sampled a beer, a mushroom porter, which was flavored with lion's mane mushroom.
There you go.
How is that for coincidence?
So they're putting a nootropic in there. Basically, they're putting a nootropic in there, in the beer, based on my understanding.
There you go.
So you basically stay sharp while you get drunk.
On my pizza, yeah.
Basically, what they're doing is it's like caffeine is kind of like a nootropic as well. It's like it just kind of boosts you a little bit. The only difference with nootropics is you don't have that like caffeine crash. So people will drink lion's mane coffee. Mm-hmm. And you feel more alert. So when I have, I took it today. When I take it, I can remember, I don't lose my spot or remember names better. I still do because I'm me. It's not a magic pill.
It just happened.
It did just happen.
You just forgot a couple things, Jerrod. I would,
not great.
Go to
I'm
Costco
not a great.
for a refund on that nootropic there.
That's terrible marketing.
Well, those go from Whole Foods. But you just feel a little bit sharper. I say it though. It's not like if you don't sleep, you don't exercise, you don't do anything, and you take them, then it's kind of like drinking a cup of coffee when you're already done.
Yeah.
It doesn't help much, but it's just sort of a little boost. I'll send you some pills.
Oh boy. I'll be waiting by the mailbox.
Gaudy, just quick question. Do you remember when you were very ground floor, one show a month, Rory thinking we should do long form, me thinking we should do 10 minutes, which now I have to sell it to everybody not to do 10 minutes, so the irony is not lost on me. Do you remember a point where you're like, oh, this is going to be something a little bit bigger than this little, well, at that time we were still doing marketing.
Yeah. Don't
even sell that anymore. We do, I don't know, 3 to 4 shows a week now. Do you remember a point where you're like, oh boy, this is gearing up?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think when it started to gear up, I don't think I had time to think about it.
No, there wasn't an event or anything that you were like, oh, this is.
It just happened, and I think that yes, the COVID, time definitely moved us into it starting to happen. Mm-hmm. I don't think I even then I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I think right after COVID, it just kind of clicked. It's like COVID gave them that insight of this is what we need.
This actually works.
This works.
Yeah.
It definitely showed everybody that you don't need to travel to get the word out there, to get, that sort of thing. You can do it from wherever you are. So after COVID, I think is when I was like, damn, like.
Yeah, because I wondered if it would actually die down after COVID, because we had it like people would come on the show from like Dubai and stuff like that, and it was like, okay, is that all going to go away?
Yeah.
And then it didn't even like remotely.
No.
Do you know where I thought it was? Where I realized that this kind of next level was Con Expo. Because we didn't do a lot of construction shows, and we literally just reached out to people at Con Expo and said, hey, we're coming, and we're going to do the construction show. New show. We didn't even have a construction show.
That's right, yeah.
And we did like 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Just boom. Like, and paid for. We got like a 3-part series out of it, and like advertisers. We just had a ton of support.
Yeah.
It was just the demand was there because people wanted to do content.
Yeah. It was definitely crazy because, my thought was exactly after COVID, and then trade shows started happening again, and I thought,
events,
well, people are going to start going to events again, and we're going to be just that thing that we did during COVID.
That we did, that thing we tried.
You know, when you go to an event, and I remember, I think it's PDAC, where is it, BNN, there's a couple of big groups, but to be on that show, you've got to be the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, right?
Yeah.
And what happens with Crownsmen is anyone can tell their story. You know, you don't have to be the CEO of Valet or Tech to sit in front of BNN and get and tell your story. And the buzz on the floor is always interesting. You know, people walking around seeing cameras. There's some kind of natural attraction to that. And I think, the events for you guys has really taken off from doing a couple of shows to 28 shows at CIM. I don't know how many you had at PDAC, but then you're in Australia, South Africa, and then there's Vegas.
That's going to be wild. That's going to be 3 or 4 hosts again, and then what you touched on something, Roy, is that I, again, if someone's thinking about doing it, I think is really important. So many people want to talk. I know my segment on this show is leadership, ironically, but so many people want to talk about things at the executive level, but most of us don't work at the executive level. So the engineers are in. I remember my days at Savinaw Equipment, and we would, we'd be looking at schematics for pumps and graphics, and it was all about figuring out what pieces of equipment worked with what. That's what was the conversation. It wasn't, how do we inspire our team? I mean, those things those conversations might happen, but the day-to-day stuff was the business, like the actual business. And I think we sort of happened to, what happened is we had, maybe remember Arjun, and he worked for, I got to take my nootropics again. He worked for one of the big consulting firms in Singapore. And so he did market research for us. And it was the percentage of the population in heavy industry. It was just an insane number. Like making like the Taylor Swift fan base, it dwarfed it. So many people work in trucking, construction, mining, energy. Yeah. Like just think of all the people connected with those industries. So if you just have executives on, it's boring.
It doesn't.
You need.
It doesn't connect.
They're great
with everybody.
Yeah, you need to have a mixture. Like some of the executives come on, they're great, but you don't want to just have a show with executives. It's just.
Let's talk for a minute about balance sheets. And Rory brought up the financing public offering through bonds.
It's actually an interesting conversation.
Jerrod's like, yes, tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more. No, but I do think people also like, the CEO of Hecla comes on.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody wants to. You see the engagement, everybody wants to hear. But now if it just becomes CEOs of mining companies and construction companies coming on, and there's no technical knowledge anymore, people want to see how McLean is designing their equipment. They are interested in it. People like those things.
But you're talking to, the CEO of Hecla, and he's talking about how they decided and developed a new mining method for one of their mines.
Yeah.
So he's not talking about acquiring another mine or about, going public with something. He's talking about something that people in our industry, in the mining industry, can relate to.
Yeah. Well, we covered what we do quite a bit in this episode. We're gonna get plenty more. Rory, anything to close? I keep not plugging. What's this thing you do? Cranky men smoking beer or something like that. My memory is just
you really
firing.
gotta send me those pills.
Yeah.
Clearly, they work so well.
Like a charm.
No, but cranky old men drinking beer.
You mean cranky old men drinking beer?
Yeah. For one, I need to ask you, did I hear you telling people you've done like 900 reviews?
We just surpassed the 1,000 mark actually with the Vancouver tour.
Wow, 1,000.
Yeah.
So do you do it every day?
Almost.
Wow.
Yeah, we get some guest reviews, and then we've got a few cranky old men. But
so you drink beer every day? So this is what
I wouldn't say every day. When there's a hockey game on.
When there's a hockey game, a soccer game.
Thank God for the playoffs.
Wait, are you not supposed to drink beer every day?
I don't think so.
I think it's good for I read somewhere that it was good for you. I think the source was the Beer of the Month Club, actually.
I was going to say the source is probably Cranky Old Men review number 845. But people should go. People should go check that out. Gaudy, you're probably going to start a show about reviewing Caesars, I've heard.
Yeah, I am your competition, Roy.
You're not cranky enough. If you survive Jerrod and Rory, you're not cranky enough.
Oh.
Yeah, you get a little cranky
I don't know if
sometimes.
I've survived yet.
I think what Gaudy loves about Rory and I's style the most is when we go, oh, by the way, we're going this direction, but could we also just tack on this while we do it? You love it when we do that.
Oh, by the way, did you want me to record this?
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. I get the calls of, oh, guess what? We're doing this. Here's everything.
Here's everything you need to get started.
Yeah. Now, make it happen.
Hey, Gaudy, there was the one rap and tap where couldn't find the recording file for a minute. Thought we'd have to drink another beer.
I thought I was going to... I don't even know what I was thinking.
Oh, the look on your face when you think a file is missing that's what we should put a camera on. It's just like,
that's cruel.
I just move back. I just kind of go away.
Oh yeah, that brief moment of panic.
Well, Roy, I do want to say it's fun having you do these shows with us. We're going to be doing a lot more of them. I know you're trying to enjoy retirement. We just keep pulling you out of it. But what are you going to do? You need to.
Hey, you know what retirement is? It's being allowed to do the things that you have fun doing. So
Keeps them cranky.
Lots of fun with this.
Cranky. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and drinking beer and watching hockey.
That everyday thing, though, Roy, that I just keep an eye on that. The everyday,
Okay.
yeah.
What are you, my sponsor now, or what?
He's just jealous.
I would not be the person you'd want. I would, I probably,
Just send me those pills.
I will, yeah, and they can find my words again. Once I find my words and remember what the pills are.
Or where you put them.
It's a problem. Okay, thank you both. Thank you, Gaudy, for jumping in because Rory had to go away for a little while. He will come back. It has been rough for him since Vancouver. I mean, he didn't take it well, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You don't mean the conference, you mean the hockey playoffs.
I mean the hockey playoffs.
Just to be clear to the audience. Yeah.
What was I going to say? I don't know. I'm forgetting everything.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you both. We will see you next week. Do it again. Okay, bye-bye.
Instead of those pills, you should drink a beer every night.
That also might be the problem. I might need to ramp up my life a little. The new baby is still keeping my sleep is still not quite back to normal. I don't know if it ever will be. So
It won't.
No.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of The Crownsmen Show.